Hey guys, so today, give me 1 second.
Recording in progress.
So today let's talk about where to find accounting clients. So this video is very, very important because without having clients, like, you know, you're not going to be able to actually run a business long term. So the faster you understand these principles inside of this video, the faster you're going to go and the faster you're going to really understand, you'll be able to actually support your family in the shortest period of time. So this is like the primary thing that we focus on inside of our mentorship program. And if you're not inside of our mentorship program already, I just invite you to go ahead and check it out. So who am I before we jump into this thing? So I currently run an accounting and bookkeeping business that does 6 figures. I've been running that firm since 2015. So far, this slide's a little bit old. It's about 354 students to date. And we're helping people start and grow their business as well using the same principles and practices I use inside of my firm today. So let's jump into this thing. So when it comes to where to find accounting clients, the first place you're always looking for is your current sphere of influence. So in this picture, basically, you're always inside the center. So let's say you're inside the center. Your friends, your family, your schools that you went to, social media, everything that you have, right? Those are already places you're connected to. Your entire life generally has money inside of it. Now, unfortunately, if you're watching this and you're 22 years old, like you probably don't have a huge sphere of influence versus someone that's like closer to retirement age. But, first rule of entrepreneurship is always start with what you have. Now, there's generally 2 main camps of people when it comes to sphere of influence. Technically 3. First person, this is me. I potentially had people who could actually work with me, but I was too afraid to ask them because I felt that if I asked them, they would think that I was trying to get them into a multi-level marketing thing, and they would hate me forever. Right? Because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, so I really wanted to make sure that the friends that I did have wanted to stick with me and wanted to be my friends long term. So I had this super kind of negative mindset around selling to friends, selling to family. Also, I learned that from my dad when I was young, because he hated selling to friends. Anytime he would sell to friends, it would be for a discount, or it'd be if something happens, just come and refund it. He would just be super nervous when it came to that. So I kind of adopted that behavior, and it took 6 months to a year to really unbreak that kind of behavior. And the only reason that it broke for me was because one of my old basketball coaches when I was 10 years old basically reached out to me on social media asking if I can do his accounting and bookkeeping. I was like, wait, what? So it's okay for friends and family? And it's yeah, it's cool, right? So that's the first camp, people who just are against doing it. Second camp is people who've already done it. Now, if you've already reached out to your friends and family, you have to make sure you do it in a way that is very soft. You can't go and hard press them for a couple reasons. Number 1, since they're already your friends, you already know you're going to see them over a number of days, weeks, months, and years. So you can just keep asking them about it over time. But if you do it very hard the first time, they say no, and you're well, why? And you try and objection handle them, okay, you're not going to it's not going to work out. Versus oh, hey, you ready to kind of get started? Oh, not yet. Okay, no problem. And you just you're going to have to use more long-term kind of follow-up processes to get them on board in some cases. Now, there's going to be a percentage of them where the first second you ask, they're yeah, this is awesome, let's go. Those are the ones you're trying to convert. You're not trying to turn a no into a yes. You're trying to take yeses and maybes and to keep those as yeses, right? So if someone's yes, you don't want to push too hard and now they're a no. You just want to maintain the yes energy. Or if it's a maybe, you want to just kind of slightly nudge them towards being a yes. But you never want to try and take someone who's a no and try and convince them to be a yes. Because that's when you have to convince, beg, plead, push, and it gets very, very irritating, right? And that's a skill set, knowing how to determine who is a yes versus who's just kind of there. That's a very big skill set you have to kind of learn, and it does take a little bit of time to really understand that and really get good at that. Now, so that's the one. So most people they've gone through their friends and family, but they've done it ineffectively. So maybe if they have 10 people that own a business in their friends and family network, and then only one of them says yes, right? So you've burned the other 9, right? So it's all about learning how to, and this is actually going to go into the next slide, is the conversion circles. It's learning how to always leave a little bit of money on the table so that you're constantly filling this queue of new money in the future. And we're going to kind of slide into that in a minute. But the third group of people that generally don't, like with friends and family, just haven't done it yet, right? So it's just like, it's not they're opposed to it, it's not they're against it, and they just haven't done it yet. So like I would first start there, because your past life has a lot of money. You can go to like former bosses, you can go to friends, family, people at your church, pastors, let's say therapists. Therapists can be a little bit hard because in some cases they can't like tell you who their clients are, so they have to like recommend you kind of thing. A lot of different options for you, right? But go back in the past first and dig some clients, get your first select set of clients. Now, if you've tried that and it's just not working, I would just encourage you to go invest in a mentorship program. One of our students, Lauren, when she first got started, so her like this, and this is not necessarily typical, she basically went through her like phone contacts and found someone she like went like on a blind date with like 3 years ago, and then basically she reached out to that person, and like the guy had like 3 businesses that are each doing like anywhere between like $400K to like $1 million a year, right? But she didn't know that at the time, and I don't think he had them back when they were like went on their blind date, but it just didn't go anywhere. So it's like there was no like hard feelings between the two of them. So when she reached out to him, he's like, yeah, you can definitely like help me. Each of those businesses paid her $1,200 a month, so she's making $3,600 a month. Like that happened like in a week. Like the first thing we do inside of our program is like we teach you how to go and tap that past network, right? So that's $3,600 a month right off the bat. So if you're not doing that, like you could be missing out on a lot of revenue. And I'm saying could be because I don't know your situation, but in a lot of cases you probably are. Okay, now this goes next to the conversion circles, okay? So if you're watching this on like the PowerPoint version of this video, one thing you're going to notice is like some of the images are using AI, right? I'm using AI to create this image because it's like it's unique, it's never been seen before. But one thing with AI right now is like there's like spelling stuff, right? So if spelling is one of those things that irks you, you know, you might want to close your eyes on this graphic. Probably in like 6 months to a year, it's going to be amazing and be like perfect. But right now, you know, it's kind of like that. So in terms of this, you're always trying to add another ring. So this has like a number of rings. Like when you first get started, your sphere of influence is very small, right? But you have to go in and get a little bit larger. So first you go like friends, family, maybe past life. Okay, now you start going to strangers. And there's different like scales and scopes of strangers. But you can only ever really grow your business to the extent of your sphere of influence. For example, it's easier to make money if you have a large audience than it is to make money with a small audience. Now, let's assume that lead quality is the same, right? Because in some cases, like you can have like very high quality, low volume lead list, or very low quality, like high quantity lead list. So I'm just gonna say, let's assume that the quantity or that the quality of the leads, so they're all business owners that can pay you within 500 to 5,000 per month. If that quality is the same, the person that has like the more of them will have an easier time going and growing their business. So the first things first is all about like after we've exhausted our friends and family list, we have to start going towards strangers. Now, there's a right way to do this and there's a wrong way to do it. I like using LinkedIn because I want to make sure that as I'm going and building more relationships, the quality of the people inside of those relationships are very, very strong. Okay? Now, the challenge with social media and the challenge is just with the online is that you don't really know the quality of the person just by looking at their profile. Because some people might have no pictures. They might have no profile picture. They might just have pictures of like their cats. But they could be running $1 billion business, but they have like only pictures of their cats, and you can't tell that. So what I like to do is I like to cross-reference everything with LinkedIn. So generally, if I'm going to be building relationships on LinkedIn, it's easier because it's already there. If I'm going to be on Facebook, well, every time I go and find someone on Facebook, I'm going to cross-check them on LinkedIn to see like what is their company revenue, what is their staff headcount, do they have contractors or anything, do they have someone that's doing accounting and bookkeeping, right, in-house. If not, okay, then we maybe can see. They can even do like external, like say they have people external as well. But I'm always checking that, right? Because we want to not just increase the volume of leads, we want to make sure the quality is also high as well, right? Because in a lot of cases, if you just get the right, like having proper lead quality and getting the right leads makes everything easier. Like we had a student, JT, like when he was first getting started, for him to get to 12,000 per month, he only had 300 leads on his like Facebook profile. 300, that's it. I was like, you're doing 12 grand a month with 300 leads? And I was like, man, that's crazy. Now, the reason why, and this is actually an interesting kind of tidbit that most people don't think about, right? So the reason why do I always recommend people to go and like start their bookkeeping business before they start like coaching, consulting, tax planning, etc.? It's because like generally for like a coaching, consulting, like when it's more like package based offers, you get that one-time payment. Maybe it's like once a year, maybe it's once whatever. But it's like with the bookkeeping, once you hit a certain revenue point, you're always there unless you like lose all your clients. But in most cases, it's not going to happen, right? It's very unlikely you lose all your clients at one time. So once you get to like 12 grand a month, it's not just 12 grand a month one time. It's 12,000, 12,000, 12,000, 12,000, 12,000. You're making 144 grand a year. Versus like a coaching, consulting, you essentially start at zero. Like essentially you're starting at zero. Sometimes you might have like payment plans coming through, but you're starting at zero, right? So it's easier to kind of hit a high revenue point because you're selling a package, but you start at zero every single time. So it's like once you kind of get that initial, and this is why I'm so just like, you're always gonna hear me talk about like if you want to grow and you want to like really make things work, like there's a certain set of KPIs you need to hit, right? All this business is like all digital marketing is, there's two rules of digital marketing. Number one is building a list. Number two is, I had it in my mind but I just forgot it. Number one is building the list. Two rules of digital marketing. It'll come to me in a minute. But number one is building the list, right? Because if you can build the list correctly, then it's all about, it's just math. Then number two, yes. The clients that want to work with you, it's just so easy, right? So you build the list and then, no, that's not the second point. I'm sorry guys, I'm drawing a blank on this for some reason. I don't know why. But rule number one is the list, right? Because if you think about it like this, if you build a list one time, you can just keep going back and building a relationship. Remember how I said earlier with the friends and family, if you're doing a soft call to action, you don't lose any social capital every single time you go back to them. So they still want to be your friend. They still like you. Nothing is lost. You only have stuff to gain. But it's the same thing with your marketing lists. Every time we do soft CTAs even to strangers, because if they say no, we can circle back around at key points during the year, and a lot of them are going to change their mind and give us an opportunity to present our service and present our price. So really understanding that soft CTA, all it becomes is how big can I build my list with the right quality of people? And that's it. That's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. Just get good quality. Right? And then just get good quantities. Yes, that's the second point. It's mathematics. It's all a game of mathematics and KPIs. So we're building our list. But once we have the list, okay, so how many people do we need to talk to get a consultation call? How many people need to talk to on a consultation call to get a client? How long after I do my consultation call does it take for someone to sign up on average? Is that 3 days, 5 days, 7 days that someone takes to sign up, right? And then after that, it's like, well, how many clients do I need to actually go and hit my revenue goal? What's the average price point per month that I need from those people? Do I want to get more cleanups or do I want to get more monthly clients, right? So it's all just a series of like math equations. Now, luckily for us, right, we are accountants and bookkeepers. Or if you're not an accountant or bookkeeper currently, you're striving to become one. So that means that we're generally good with numbers. Now, some people might be good with numbers, but they're not good with math. Okay, I can't help you there. Just get a simple arithmetic. That's all you need to do. That's all this stuff is. It's just a very simple math equation. There's another math equation. Now, the math equations I just gave you were how to go and get the clients and build a business. There's also math equations with like how to increase the value of a client. Like, for example, when do you cross-sell someone? So all cross-sell means just like, let's say they're doing service A, they also want to do like service B, right? Versus service A, an upsell will be like service A turned into like service A plus or whatever, or A multiple. It's like the same service is now going up, versus cross-selling something is like selling something similar that basically adds on to it. Okay, so slight difference. Okay, next thing you have to understand. Okay, so we're talking about lists. We're talking about mathematics. There are really three main types of personas when it comes to growing your business and doing like marketing and sales. So when you first get started, you need to become more of like a hunter. Now when I say a hunter is just someone that's building relationships, they're moving, they're attacking, they're going, right? Now hunting is the simplest way to go and grow the business, only because, let me adjust this camera. It's the simplest way to grow the business because it's the one thing you can control. I can always control every single day, do I want to go and build a relationship? Excuse me, I don't know why I'm sneezing. It's all rainy outside today. It's super dark in here because there's no sun outside. But okay, so it's always about like, it's the stuff you can control. Like when you're starting out, like business can be challenging. So the point of starting a business is to make things as controllable as possible. If I can control as many factors as possible, I can really do anything I need to in business. Because remember, it's all a math equation. So by hunting, you're really putting that math inside your favor. Now there comes a point to where you start getting either like you hit your revenue goal or you're building significant traction and you want to start farming. Now farming, there's two different forms of farming, right? So number one is going to be building referral partnerships. You're planting a seed with a referral partner today, and it's going to keep giving you a yield or a crop every single month, every single year, right? And just keeps going and going and going. You have to water those relationships and make sure that referral partners are happy with you and they like you, right? So they can still send you more and more business. But once you start planting those seeds, it starts growing. You have this like beautiful forest of people and like beautiful garden of people that are sending leads to you. Now, the second way you can do that is by learning how to farm and make content that actually gets direct clients and referral partners to want to work with you. Now, you're gonna hear me say this a lot. Do not make content when you're starting out. If you're under about, I'll say probably about 1,000 followers, I would not make content. And I'm just saying like on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like on platforms where it's like you make posts and they go down. On a platform like a YouTube channel, like it's a little bit different because on YouTube channels, when you post a piece of content, it actually gets seen by more people over time. So the time frame where it has like the lowest visibility is today. The time frame where it has like the most is like the future. Versus most social media platforms are the opposite. So it's going to get the most views today and never get seen again because it goes down. It's like it's more of like a news feed style. Any social media platform that has like a newsfeed style is generally not good if you don't have a large audience because social media is only going to show it to between 5 to 10% of your total audience. So if you have like 10 people in your audience, like that's like nothing. It's like 1 or 2 people are going to see that thing, right? But if you have like 1,000 people in your audience, okay, it's like it's in some cases it can be really hard to message 1,000 people and to build those relationships. So you make content because the content can talk to, we'll say, anywhere between, what is that, 100, 1,000 people, what is that, 10% of 1,000, right? So it'll be anywhere between like 50 to like 150 people will see it, okay? So if 150 people see your message on a consistent basis, okay, some of those people are going to convert, right? So it makes sense to make content at that point. But if you're not at that stage, like just, it does not make sense, right? Because you're just gonna be spinning reels. I'd rather you take that same time you would spend making the piece of content to actually go and talk to clients. Here's another reason why content sucks when you're starting out. If you don't have any clients, you generally don't know what message or marketing kind of lingo actually works for the clients you want to work with. So just be like saying stuff and you're actually repelling people because you're saying things that are not really that useful to them, right? So the only reason I can make good written content, and I don't really do that much written content these days because I love video more. It's like video, I can just shoot out like 1,000,000 videos super quickly. But the reason why I know what to kind of say in my content is because I've talked to so many different types of people. So I know what people like all of written content is basically just a consultation call that you're having with an imaginary prospect that's not sitting in front of you. So the more of these consultation calls you do and the more that you actually sign people up, the easier it is to write content because you're just basically repeating the same things you would say on your consultation calls. But if you've never had a consultation call, you never closed a client, number one, if you never had a consultation call, you don't even know like how business owners speak. Number two, if you've never closed a consultation call, you don't know words that are effective enough to get people to actually say yes. So you have to kind of, everything is a process. I already talked about the list, and we talked about the mathematics, right? Did you notice how I talked about the mathematics behind getting a client first? So we talked about how many leads to a consultation call, how many consultation calls to a client. From a client, like how long does it take for the person to see your price quote to sign up? Then we start talking about metrics after the sale, right? So it's like, how do you make your client more valuable? It's, do you cross-sell or do you upsell? Like, what's the time frame from your cross-sell to upsell? We're always moving from furthest away from the money to closest to the money, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to this. Like, everything has a proper time and a proper place. If you do things out of order, you're not going to make things work, and you're just going to lead to like frustration. Now, if you don't know what that proper order is, I know in this video we kind of talked about we've touched on some basic equations, we touched on some things, but if you don't really know these off the top of your head, I would probably encourage you to just get some help, right? Because like, you could learn this stuff. Like, I mean, I think today, this like no longer an exaggeration. I think we have 1,000 videos on this channel. Right, so it's no longer an exaggeration when I say we have 1,000 videos, but it's like, I would just, you know, try and get that help as quickly as possible, because the sooner you get the help, the easier it is to grow the business, right? You might as well just, if you're going to do something anyway, you might as well do it now, because the amount of time it takes to make a decision does not change whether the decision is the right decision or the wrong decision. If going out with this person who's like a serial killer is going to be a bad decision, it doesn't matter whether you make it today or tomorrow, it's a bad decision. Versus if something's a good decision, like if the person who, let's say that you are going to, and again, this has to be in a vacuum, because like there is an argument to be made about like, well, maybe it's the right thing, but I'm not prepared to have the right thing at this moment in time. And it's like, okay, there's a loophole to every single thing. But generally, if something is for you and there's not like a prerequisite for it, like if it's like more of a decision that's going to be made, if it's the right house to, okay, so if it's the right house to live in and the conditions are the same and the conditions are right, you might as well buy it today versus buy it tomorrow, right? Because you know for certain the prices are like a certain point, right? Within reason. So that's all this stuff is, right? It's just about making the decision. Now, if you want some help, you want to grow your business, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? I'll talk to you soon. My camera's going to die over here, so I got to end this video very quickly. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day. If you want to take the call, I'd love to speak to you on the call. I'd love to get to meet you. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you every single day. You're the reason why I make these videos. The more you watch, the more I'll make. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Stop recording. Boom.
Recording stopped.